1. What are two functions of DHCP servers? Choose 2. A. Prevent users from assigning their own IP addresses to hosts. B. Assign dynamic IP configurations to hosts in a network. C. Support centralized IP management. D. Issue DHCPDISCOVER messages when added to the network. E. Respond to client DHCPOFFER requests by issuing an IP address. The correct answers are B. Assign dynamic IP configurations to hosts in a network, and E. Respond to client DHCPOFFER requests by issuing an IP address. Explanation. A. DHCP servers do not prevent users from assigning their own IP addresses to hosts. Instead, they automate the process of assigning IP addresses. C. While DHCP servers support centralized IP management in the sense that they manage IP address assignments centrally, the term centralized IP management might refer to more comprehensive IP address management systems beyond DHCP. DHCPDISCOVER messages are sent by DHCP clients when they are attempting to discover DHCP servers, not by DHCP servers themselves. DHCP servers assign dynamic IP configurations to hosts in a network, such as IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS server addresses, etc. E. DHCP servers respond to client DHCPOFFER requests by offering an IP address lease along with other configuration information, such as subnet mask, default gateway, DNS server addresses, etc. 2. Its work security team noticed that an increasing number of employees are becoming victims of phishing attacks. Which security program should be implemented to mitigate the problem? A. Email system patches. B. Physical access control. C. Software firewall enabled on all PCs. D. User awareness training. The most effective solution to mitigate the problem of employees falling victim to phishing attacks is option D. User awareness training. Explanation. A. Email system patches can address vulnerabilities in email systems, which may help prevent certain types of attacks, but they may not specifically target the issue of phishing attacks, which often rely on social engineering rather than exploiting technical vulnerabilities. B. Physical access control measures are important for controlling physical access to facilities and devices, but they do not directly address the issue of phishing attacks, which occur through digital communication channels. C. While having software firewalls enabled on all PCs is a good security practice, firewalls primarily protect against unauthorized network traffic and do not directly address the issue of phishing attacks, which involve deception and manipulation of users rather than direct network-based attacks. User awareness training is crucial for educating employees about the dangers of phishing attacks, how to recognize them, and how to respond appropriately, e.g., not clicking on suspicious links or providing sensitive information. By empowering employees with knowledge and awareness, organizations can significantly reduce the likelihood of successful phishing attacks. 3. What does WPA3 provide in wireless networking? A. Safeguards against brute force attacks with SAE. B. Optional protected management frame negotiation. C. Backward compatibility with WPA and WPA2. D. Increased security and requirement of a complex configuration. The correct answer is A. Safeguards against brute force attacks with SAE. Explanation. A. WPA3, Wi-Fi Protected Access 3, introduces simultaneous authentication of equals, SAE, also known as Dragonfly, which provides protection against brute force attacks by ensuring that both the access point and the client verify each other's identity before exchanging sensitive information. This helps to strengthen the security of wireless networks against various types of attacks. B. While WPA3 does introduce optional features such as protected management frames, PMF negotiation is not specifically related to WPA3. PMF can provide additional security by protecting management frames from tampering and eavesdropping. C. WPA3 is not backward compatible with WPA and WPA2. However, devices that support WPA3 may still be able to connect to networks using WPA or WPA2 if those older security protocols are supported by the network. DWPA3 aims to simplify configuration and increase security, so it does not necessarily require a more complex configuration compared to previous security protocols like WPA and WPA2. 4. Company has decided to require multi-factor authentication for all systems. Which set of parameters meets the requirement? A. Personal 10-digit PIN and RSA certificate. B. Complex password and personal 10-digit PIN. C. Password of 8 to 15 characters and personal 12-digit PIN. D. Fingerprint scanning and facial recognition. The most suitable set of parameters for multi-factor authentication consists of factors from two or more of the following categories. Something the user knows, e.g., a password or PIN. Something the user has, e.g., an RSA certificate or a smartphone for receiving authentication codes. And something the user is, e.g., biometric identifiers such as fingerprint or facial recognition. Given the options provided. A. Personal 10-digit PIN and RSA certificate. This combination meets the multi-factor authentication requirement as it includes something the user knows, PIN, and something the user has, RSA certificate. B. Complex password and personal 10-digit PIN. This combination only includes factors from the something the user knows category, so it does not fully meet the multi-factor authentication requirement. C. Password of 8 to 15 characters and personal 12-digit PIN. This combination also only includes factors from the something the user knows category, so it does not fully meet the multi-factor authentication requirement. D. Fingerprint scanning and facial recognition. This combination meets the multi-factor authentication requirement as it includes factors from two different biometric categories. Something the user has, fingerprint, and something the user is, facial recognition. So, both options A and D meet the requirement for multi-factor authentication. However, The choice between them would depend on factors such as the specific security needs of the company, the usability of the authentication methods, and the infrastructure available for implementing them. 5. What should a network administrator consider when deciding to implement automation? A. Automated systems may have difficulty expanding network changes at scale. B. Network automation typically is limited to the configuration and management of virtual devices within a network. C. Network automation typically increases enterprise management operating costs. D. Manual changes frequently lead to configuration errors and inconsistencies. The correct answer is D. Manual changes frequently lead to configuration errors and inconsistencies. Explanation. A. While automated systems may face challenges in scaling network changes, this statement does not capture the overall benefits and considerations of network automation. Automation can often help manage changes at scale more effectively than manual methods. B. Network automation is not typically limited to virtual devices within a network. It can involve automation of various tasks across both physical and virtual network devices. C. Network automation can actually reduce operating costs in the long term by improving efficiency, reducing manual labor, and minimizing errors. While there may be initial costs associated with implementing automation solutions, the benefits often outweigh these costs in terms of increased productivity and reduced downtime. D. Manual changes are prone to errors and inconsistencies due to human error, differing levels of expertise among administrators, and lack of standardized processes. Network automation helps mitigate these risks by providing consistent configurations, reducing human error, and streamlining repetitive tasks. 6. Which capability does TFTP provide? A. Loads configuration files on systems without data storage devices. B. Provides authentication for data communications over a private data network. C. Provides encryption mechanisms for file transfer across a WAN. D. Provides secure file access within the LAN. The correct answer is A. TFTP. Trivial File Transfer Protocol, provides the capability to load configuration files on systems without data storage devices. Explanation. A. TFTP is commonly used to transfer files between network devices, particularly for tasks such as loading firmware or configuration files onto devices like routers, switches, and IP phones that may not have large storage capacities. It is called trivial because it lacks features like authentication and encryption, making it lightweight and suitable for simple file transfer tasks. TFTP does not provide authentication for data communications over a private data network. In fact, one of its limitations is the lack of authentication mechanisms, making it unsuitable for secure transfers over public networks. TFTP does not provide encryption mechanisms for file transfer across a WAN. Again, due to its lack of encryption, TFTP is generally not used for transferring sensitive or confidential data over untrusted networks like the Internet. TFTP does not provide secure file access within the LAN. Since it lacks authentication and encryption, TFTP is not considered a secure protocol and is typically used for non-sensitive file transfers within trusted local networks. 7. What must be considered before deploying virtual machines? A. Location of the virtual machines within the data center environment. B. Whether to leverage VSM to map multiple virtual processors to two or more virtual machines. C. Resource limitations, such as the number of CPU cores and the amount of memory. D. Support for physical peripherals, such as monitors, keyboards, and mice. The correct answer is C. Resource limitations, such as the number of CPU cores and the amount of memory, must be considered before deploying virtual machines. Explanation. A. While the location of virtual machines within the data center environment can be a consideration for factors like network latency, redundancy, and resource availability, it's not the primary concern before deploying virtual machines. B. The decision to leverage Virtual Machine Manager (VMM) to map multiple virtual processors to two or more virtual machines is an optimization strategy for managing resources efficiently. However, it's not a prerequisite or a primary consideration before deploying virtual machines. C. Resource limitations, such as CPU cores and memory, are crucial factors to consider before deploying virtual machines. Ensuring that there are sufficient resources available to meet the requirements of the virtual machines being deployed is essential for optimal performance and stability. D. Support for physical peripherals like monitors, keyboards, and mice is typically not a primary concern before deploying virtual machines. Virtual machines interact with these peripherals through the hypervisor's virtualization layer, and compatibility is generally managed at that level rather than at the individual virtual machine deployment stage. 8. What is a reason why an administrator would choose to implement an automated network management approach? A. Reduce inconsistencies in the network configuration. B. Enable box-by-box configuration and deployment. C. Decipher simple password policies. D. Increase recurrent management costs. The correct answer is A. Reduce inconsistencies in the network configuration. Explanation. A. One of the primary reasons for implementing an automated network management approach is to reduce inconsistencies in network configuration. Manual configuration processes are prone to human error, resulting in configuration discrepancies across devices. Automation helps ensure consistency by applying standardized configurations across the network, reducing the likelihood of misconfigurations and improving network reliability and security. B. Automation typically aims to enable network-wide configuration and deployment, rather than box-by-box manual configuration. Automating tasks allows administrators to manage configurations at scale, applying changes across multiple devices simultaneously, which is more efficient than configuring each device individually. C. Automated network management may assist in enforcing and managing password policies, but it does not specifically decipher password policies. Instead, it can help enforce policy compliance by automating password changes, ensuring password complexity, and managing access control. Implementing automation in network management often results in decreased recurrent management costs rather than an increase. While there may be initial investment costs associated with setting up automation systems, the long-term benefits include improved efficiency, reduced manual labor, and minimized errors, which can lead to cost savings over time. 9. Which two capabilities of Cisco DNA Center make it more extensible as compared to traditional campus device management? Choose 2. A. REST APIs that allow for external applications to interact natively. B. Adapters that support all families of Cisco iOS software. C. SDKs that support interaction with third-party network equipment. D. Customized versions for small, medium, and large enterprises. E. Modular design that is upgradable as needed. The correct options are A. REST APIs that allow for external applications to interact natively. C. SDKs that support interaction with third-party network equipment. Explanation. A. Cisco DNA Center provides REST APIs that enable external applications to interact with it natively. This allows for the development of custom applications, automation scripts, and integrations with other systems, extending the capabilities of DNA Center beyond its native functionalities. C. Cisco DNA Center also offers software development kits, SDKs, that support interaction with third-party network equipment. This capability allows for the integration of DNA Center with non-Cisco devices, enhancing its interoperability and making it more extensible in heterogeneous network environments. 10. In which circumstance would a network architect decide to implement a global unicast subnet instead of a unique local unicast subnet? A. When the subnet must be available only within an organization. B. When the subnet does not need to be routable. C. When the addresses on the subnet must be equivalent to private IPv4 addresses. D. When the subnet must be routable over the Internet. The correct answer is D. When the subnet must be routable over the Internet. Explanation. A global unicast subnet uses globally unique IPv6 addresses that are routable over the Internet. These addresses are registered with Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, IANA, and can be globally routed on the Internet. Unique local unicast subnets, on the other hand, are designed for local communication within an organization and are not intended to be routable over the Internet. They use addresses from the FCOO, skeptical smiley face, 7 block, and are similar to private IPv4 addresses in that they are not globally unique and should not be routed outside of the local network. Therefore, if the subnet needs to be routable over the Internet, a network architect would choose to implement a global unicast subnet.